This is the Brew Party Podcast, episode 98, and I am heartbroken for the city of Buffalo, New York. Wow, what a weekend of NFL football. Maybe one of the best NFL games, best football games I think I've ever watched in my life on Sunday night. Chiefs 42, Bills 36, I believe was the final there. I should probably know that final score if I'm going to be talking about it. But yes, I got it right. That was just so sad if you're the city of Buffalo. We're going to get into it here in just a second, but I had to say that off the top. So this is episode 98 of the Brew Party Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Hopper. Thanks for being here. If it's your first time, welcome in. Welcome to the party. If it's not your first time, welcome in. Welcome to the party. We're glad you are here either way. So on this episode 98, it's a vibe check, Bulls vibe check, featuring the one and only now recurring guest from bloggable.com, from Forbes.com, from the Cash Considerations podcast and the Clutch Points app. The one and only Jason Patt joins the Brew Party Podcast to talk about our beloved Chicago Bulls and what is happening with the team right now after that unfortunate injury to Alex Caruso, after the dirty play by, of course, it was by Grayson Allen. Fuck Grayson Allen. All my homies hate Grayson Allen. But anyway, Jason joins the show, and we kind of break down what is going on with the Chicago Bulls at this moment, where they go from here, what to expect the rest of the season after the amazing start, after being in first place in the East for the majority of the season so far, and kind of faltering. Now they have lost 6 of their last 8 games. They did win tonight against the Thunder. Jason and I recorded this on Sunday evening, like during the fourth quarter of the Bills-Chiefs game. So if you see me kind of not looking like I'm not paying attention, I am. I was just watching the game because it was just impossible to not take your eyes off of it. But Jason joins the show, so we recorded it Sunday night. So we didn't talk about the Thunder and Bulls game on Monday. This is going to be out Tuesday morning, so there will be some information we're missing. But of course, the guys we talked about and the guys that may or may not have talked shit on did well and did something we asked them to on the show or during the recording, so maybe they heard it before we released it. We talk Ayo Dosunmu, we talk Nikola Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan, we talk Grayson Allen, the injury to Alex Caruso, Billy Donovan, Zach LaVine, injuries, roster, what to expect, who needs to step up, who can help, where we see them going the rest of the year. Awesome. About 30-minute conversation with Jason on the state of the Bulls. Absolute vibe check. You'll hear him say it a couple times about the vibes of the Bulls, so I had to throw that in the title there. I absolutely love it. But before we get into that, it would be a disservice to the people of the Brew Party if we did not talk about the AFC Divisional Round and just how crazy it was. Holy shit, let's just start there. Holy shit, all 4 games are decided on the last play. You got the walk-off touchdown and then 3 game-winning field goals. We'll start with the Bills and the Chiefs because it was the game of the week, the game of the year, the game of the millennium, maybe the best game I've ever seen. It was 2 young quarterbacks that we're going to get to watch for the next 10 to 15 years, God willing, battle it out and do this shit. But both quarterbacks go for 300-plus yards. Both quarterbacks ran for over 50 yards. Like Josh Allen, 27 for 37, 329 yards, 4 touchdowns, 11 carries, 68 yards. What more do you want him to do? He throws for 70+% completion percentage, over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, and was his team's leading rusher. Can't do much more. Gabriel Davis is going to get overlooked here. 8 receptions for 201 yards and 4 touchdowns. Cole Beasley made a bunch of huge catches. They turned Stephon Diggs into a non-factor. Only 3 catches for 7 yards, but you look at what the Chiefs were able to do offensively, it was just as impressive. 33 for 44 was Mahomes with 378 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like 177 of those yards came after the 2-minute warning. Just insane. Mahomes also leads his team in rushing, 7 carries for 69 yards. Nice. And a touchdown, but it was, we get the Bills touchdown late in the game with 1:56 left to go ahead. And there you absolutely knew it was too much time. You expect Mahomes to come back and score. They do. Bills get the ball again. Score again. 13 seconds left. Oh, by the way, with 1:56 left, it's 4th and 13, and they score a touchdown. They get the ball left. They get the ball back. They score with 13 seconds left. They think they have it all but one. They decide to kick the ball out of the end zone, not keep it in play, and take a few seconds off the clock. Patrick Mahomes goes from his 25-yard line to like the 40 or something of the Bills to set up the Harrison Butker game-tying field goal. And then from there, it goes to the coin flip. It goes to, Josh Allen calls tails. Tails never fails. Of course, it's heads that time. The Chiefs get it, and they march right down the field, and they score the walk-off touchdown. So that sparks the argument of, let's change the overtime rules. I'm all for that. Let's do that. We need to change the overtime rules. It is unfathomable. It's just a travesty with the way that Josh Allen and that Bills offense was playing that they just don't get a chance to respond. It's just absolutely ridiculous. The other side of that coin is, you got to play defense. You're in the NFL. You got to get a stop. Yeah, the Bills really needed to get a stop there. You can't. It's tough. It's tough to give up that game-winning the game-winning touchdown in overtime. Obviously, the game-tying field goal, though, when you only give Patrick Mahomes 13 seconds. There was a lot of dropping back and not giving up the big, long touchdown, but that left a lot of room in the middle of the field for big chunk plays, and they were obviously able to do it. They did have like 2 timeouts or something, I think. That is huge for 13 seconds, but if you're the Bills and Josh Allen, it's looking towards the future, which was the same shit you said last year. But really, though, he was incredible. What more do you want him to do? It's defensively, it just sucks. And it's the Chiefs because they're a cheat code. It's Travis Kelce. It's fucking Tyreek Hill running just right by everybody. Giving up the peace sign, by the way, was taunting by the rule. I hate that rule, so I'm glad it wasn't called. But you gotta pick one here, NFL. Anyway. Amazing game. My little recap here does not do it justice, but anybody that watched that game knows that was an absolute treat. I had a fucking 4-team parlay. I picked every underdog to win, and I was sure the Bills were going to do it. 3 of them won, and of course, the team I was sure of did not. But just sad day for the Bills. Congratulations to the Chiefs. And I don't want to make this sound like the Chiefs didn't earn this win because they absolutely did. They're an incredible team. But that was a game that absolutely came down to whoever has the ball last is going to win that game. And it sucks. You can say it. It was decided by a coin flip, which, yeah, it really was. Because at that point, that defense was so gassed, they weren't stopping anybody. I mean, the last 3.5 minutes of the game, they weren't stopping anybody. And that was on either side. So the argument is there. I'm all for it. I want the NFL overtime rules to be changed. I think they absolutely... it's sudden death. I hate it. I hate the sudden death in the NFL, especially in that playoff scenario, especially with the way those 2 quarterbacks were playing. It just feels like we're missing something there, not giving Josh Allen a chance to get the ball. And I know Chiefs fans will say, well, this happened to us 2 years ago. Patrick Mahomes didn't get the ball in overtime. So it does kind of come full circle there. So not much more you can do but tip your hat, say congratulations to the Chiefs, and let's go Bengals. Let's go Bengals. Ladies and gentlemen, this man right here that you're seeing on the screen is he's our last hope of not seeing any stupid Jackson fucking Mahomes TikToks from the Super Bowl or just anywhere in general. Help us, Joey B. You're our only hope. Let's use that transition. Please, Joey. Please. The Bengals are going to Kansas City. After upsetting the 1 seed, they take out Tennessee in Nashville. Derrick Henry comes back. He didn't look too bad, but he definitely looked a step slow. He looked like he was still adjusting to that plate in his foot. Yeah, I would adjust to a steel plate in my foot pretty slowly as well. And, he still did score a touchdown. Really, the story of this game is the 3 interceptions thrown by Ryan Tannehill. I believe the Titans outgained the Bengals I think they had more first downs. I'm trying to hear. Hold on. I have the team stats here. So the Titans outgained. Great radio there. Titans outgained the Bengals 353 to 345. So not a huge margin there, but still. They rushed for 140 yards. They were averaging 6.8 yards per play. They sacked Joe Burrow 9 times, maybe even 10. They were living in the backfield, and they still lose. And it very well might be Ryan Tannehill's fault. Those were 3 awful interceptions. I can't even say the word interception, including on his very first pass attempt of the game. Low-scoring game, 19-16 final. You end up with an Evan McPherson kick to win the game with all-time story. If you saw the Joe Burrow interview after the game, he said McPherson went up to, I think it's Brandon Allen as the backup quarterback. He did a couple, warm-up leg swings, warm-up kicks. He looks over at Brandon Allen and says, well, looks like we're going to the AFC Championship game. Proceeds to hit the game winner, 19-16, cold as ice. Joey B, Jamar Chase, Trey Hendrickson, Chidobe Awuzie, and the Bengals are going to the AFC Championship game. And they've got a huge task ahead of them. I'm going to be cheering for the Bengals. I am all in on Houday Nation for the conference championship game. I was hoping like fucking hell we would get a Bills-Bengals championship game because that would have been awesome. It's going to be a big task for the Bengals. I mean, the Chiefs I think they're going to be a heavy favorite. Guess the line. Chiefs by 5.5. 6.5. I can see 4.5 as well. I don't know how many points they're going to give them in a conference championship game, but if anybody can do it, it's Joe Burrow. Put the picture back up. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but put it back up. It's up. Help us, Joey B. You're our only hope. I mean, this is just the coolest guy on the fucking planet. We saw this Chiefs defense. They were susceptible. They gave up a bunch of big plays to Gabriel Davis, to this Bills Bills offense. You have guys like T. Higgins that can get plays, that can get yards in chunks. You have Jamar Chase. If you get him in space, he's one of the best athletes, if not the best, in the NFL right now. You have Uzoma, who's been great at the tight end position. Joe Mixon is a solid running back, and then you throw Joe Burrow in there. So this Cincinnati defense can make plays. Will they be able to in the AFC Championship game? God, I hope so. So let's jump over to the NFC. Look at me. Didn't even do that on purpose. Did the AFC first. So we'll go Bucks-Rams. We'll save my little celebration here for the end of this. So the Rams go to Tampa Bay 30-27, the final. They were up 20-3 at halftime. They let the Bucks come all the way back. The Tom Brady magic was in full force. Sorry, gotta hydrate. And the mouth was getting a little dry. Anyway, Tom Brady's luck, full force. They come all the way back. Shades of the Atlanta, New England Super Bowl, the 28-3. A snap from the center when Stafford's not even looking. Goes back to like the 50-yard line. There was like 5 turnovers, it felt like, in like a minute. This game was drunk. This game was stoned. Whatever. It was fucked up. But another great football game. And another case of leaving too much time for an opposing quarterback. Matt Stafford hits Cooper Kupp there was like 10 seconds left on a deep bomb down the middle of the field to set up a Matt Gay winning field goal for the Rams. The Rams move on, upsetting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the reigning Super Bowl champions, sending Tommy B home. And this was just a weird game for the Bucs. They really didn't get anything going at all offensively till the fourth quarter. And the end of the third, early fourth quarter, and really throughout. They gave themselves a chance at the end, but really it was too little too late. And the Rams, it really felt like all of that was just crumbling away. I mean, if you were watching the game, it was like, I can't believe this was happening, but I can absolutely believe this is happening. It was the classic Tom Brady clawing his way, the luckiest shit. Like, he's great, but he is lucky as hell. Let's not lie. He has had a lot of things bounce his way over his career. He's also made a lot of insane throws. He's been on a lot of great teams, and I'm not trying to take anything away. He's still the GOAT, in my opinion. But this one just felt like, oh, of course they came back. Of course the Brady magic worked once again. But shout out to Matt Stafford. I talked shit on him. I think like right before the playoffs started, I said I don't want to start the "is the moment too big for Matt Stafford" narrative, but shocker, I look like an idiot like I do mostly on this show. But anyway, he won. 2 wins, his second playoff win. Tom Brady is sent packing. 44-year-old Tom Brady. We'll see if he comes back. I think a loss like this kind of fuels him for one more ride. Oof. I mean, if you're playing like that at 44 years old, throwing for 40-plus touchdowns and looking like you're in the best shape of your life, what is stopping you now, Tom? So we'll move on to maybe my favorite game of the weekend. Let me just start by saying, ha 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 ha. Niners 13, Packers 10. Mr. Ivermectin, Mr. Immunized, rolls over and puts up 10 points in a home playoff game as the 1 seed. This is your GOAT? This is your greatest of all time? He's got the same amount of NFC championships as Rex Grossman. He has 1 Super Bowl. The Packers organization has had 2 back-to-back Hall of Fame quarterbacks for a total of 30 years, and they have 2 Super Bowls to show for it. Garbage. I know I'm a salty Bears fan. I've accepted that we're losers, so it's completely okay. I'm going to have this. There's no excuse. Blame it on your shitty special teams. It's been terrible all year. Bottom line, your superstar quarterback got in his own head, refused to throw the ball to anybody else but Devontae Adams, tried to force feed his boy there because he can't trust any of your other receivers, gets no help on the ground. They have 58 total yards of offense in the second half and put up 10 fucking points in a home game. Home playoff game. All of you, all season, we're talking about how you're going to the fucking Super Bowl. Oh, it's over. Aaron Rodgers. Well, you really are boycotting it, aren't you, you fucking idiot? Yeah, you own Chicago, but you don't own shit else. Last dance my fucking ass to get bounced. Call it the last choke. Choked once again. Beautiful. There's nothing better than watching the fucking Green Bay Packers lose. I absolutely love it. Shout out to the San Francisco 49ers. Shout out to Robbie Gould. Big balls right in your face. Jimmy G just can be the worst quarterback ever, it feels like, and still win playoff games. Jimmy G's now 2-0 against Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. Aaron said it 2 years ago in San Francisco in the post-game press conference, says, we got to get one of these at home. Different when it's 20 degrees and snowing up at Lambeau. You got your home playoff game and you scored 10 points. You suck. You choked again. The Packers they've won 13 games each of the last 3 seasons and 0 Super Bowls to show for that. Not even a Super Bowl appearance. That's the first time in NFL history. I think Aaron Rodgers is now 6-5 at home in the playoffs. They're supposed to be this big, bad, mighty team. Big, bad team full of chokers. Choked. Blame the special teams all you want. Your offense that was supposed to be all this and was so good all year absolutely put up a dud at home, and you're at the same place the Chicago Bears are. Since 2017, Aaron Rodgers has as many playoff wins as Blake fucking Bortles. Come on. He's not getting away with this shit. He is not getting away with this shit. I don't want to hear any excuses. Good riddance. Walking off the field, the sad fucking shocker. It was the funniest shit. Oh my God. Robbie Gould, Jimmy G from Arlington Heights, Illinois. This is absolutely karma for Grayson Allen being a total piece of shit. And then the Milwaukee Bucks social media account and just fucking organization in general trying to stand up for him. And not even, wishing Alex Caruso a speedy recovery or any well wishes at all. Just truly proving they don't give a fuck. But God, Packer tears are amazing. The last night, was it last night? No. Whenever they lost was one of the greatest nights of Twitter ever. Absolutely everyone and their mother was getting their Aaron Rodgers jokes off, and I absolutely love it, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me, battery getting low there, but yeah, not much more I can say than ha 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 ha. Enjoy Jordan Love. He's leaving your ass. Enjoy Jordan Love. Rodgers got exactly what he fucking deserved. Exposed. Absolutely exposed. The only time he's ever won a Super Bowl is when they had a top 5 defense. I rest my case. Just kidding. I can't really end it there. But yeah, come on. That was just beautiful. Packer tears are amazing. Call me salty. Call me whatever you want. Facts are facts. You guys fucking choked it away in the playoffs once again, like you always do. One Super Bowl to show for his fucking incredible tenure. Great in the regular season. Sure, you can own the Bears. You can't fucking win when it matters, though. Can't win when it matters. And you know what? The Packers losing was the highlight of the Bears season. That's terrible. It's sad. I know. I get it. You can't make fun of me if I know we're already a joke. But guess what? We're going to hire a new GM. And we're going to hire a new coach who probably you're going to fucking suck too because this organization is set up to fail. That doesn't matter. You guys fucking lost. All this fucking talk. Oh, we're going to the Super Bowl. All this bullshit. Can't even make it to the NFC Championship game to lose. Hate to see it. Absolutely hate to see it. All right, that's 22 minutes of me being me. Let's go to our interview with the one and only Jason Patt from the Cash Considerations podcast. Follow him on Twitter at Bulls_J. Check out his work on SBNation's Bloggable, on Forbes.com, and with the Clutch Points app. Talking Bulls vibe check after that incredible weekend of NFL football. Maybe the best NFL Divisional Round of all time. A lot of classics. 3 road teams win. It should have fucking been 4. 13 seconds, guys. 13 goddamn seconds. But anyway, let's get you into this interview with Jason Patt. Just a reminder, we did record this on Sunday, so we did not talk about this Bulls game tonight, tonight when I'm recording this. Monday night against the Thunder. Ayo Dosunmu, career high, 24 points. Let's fucking go, Bulls. And Vuce actually showed up. You'll hear our thoughts on Nikola Vucevic. All right, enough of me. Let's get you into this interview with Jason Patt from the Cash Considerations podcast. You guys know sports betting season is in full swing. We've got the NFL playoffs are here. The NBA is back. The NHL is here. College basketball. The list goes on. You need a sports book to play some action on all this stuff, huh? How about you head over to BetUS Sportsbook. BetUS.com. That's BETUS.com. Enter promo code TheBrewParty for a 125% sign-up bonus. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS Sportsbook, they've been in the sports betting industry for over 30 years, paying their customers out quickly with awesome bonuses and with a lot of integrity. Who doesn't love a little integrity, am I right? They've got a race book. They've got a casino. They have live betting. They have props. They have futures. Literally, any bet type you could imagine, they have it over at BetUS Sportsbook. So go to BETUS.com. Enter promo code TheBrewParty for a 125% sign-up bonus and start getting paid. BetUS Sportsbook. You bet, you win, you get paid. Promo code TheBrewParty for a 125% sign-up bonus. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back once again, another episode of the Brew Party Podcast. It's episode 98, and we're joined by a recurring guest, I can say, back for the second time from the Cash Considerations Podcast from Forbes. He's a Bulls beat writer. Follow him on Twitter at Bulls_J. It's Jason Patt. Jason, thank you so much for being here, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to have you back. So excited to talk Bulls even after that rough 19-point loss to the Magic last night, who are the worst team in the NBA. We did get a 40 piece from DeMar, which was pretty good, but not a lot to take away from that game. So at this point of the season, I guess, we'll just go off the top. First of all, fuck Grayson Allen. All my homies hate Grayson Allen. Only a 1-game suspension after his flagrant foul on Alex Caruso, now leaving him out for 6 to 8 weeks. And that was like his first game back. So the Bulls are really beat up right now. They still, I believe, are at the top of the Eastern Conference. Are we first?
They're like third, I think now. The Nets are in first. The Heat are definitely in front of them. And then like the Cavs, Bucks, Sixers are all like right there. It's pretty tight at the moment at the top of the East.
So the last time I had you on the show was right after we made all those free agency moves, and we were starting to get pretty excited. First few months of the season, I think when we talked, I think we were expecting like a 4 or a 5 at the highest, and we're looking around like, oh shit, we're in first place in the East. DeMar DeRozan's playing at a near MVP level, definitely All-Star level, starting All-Star guard. Zach LaVine is really finding his groove, and now we're missing Zach LaVine. We're missing Lonzo Ball. We're without Alex Caruso. No Javonte Green. This team has been one of the most injured teams in the NBA, it seems like, and it looks like we might just have to limp our way through the rest of the season. So I guess just what are your overall thoughts on everything right now?
Yeah, vibes bad right now.
Yeah.
Real bad. When Caruso came back against the Cavs, they get that big win. The vibes were back momentarily because they were obviously bad for a while before that. When you had all those blowouts, you lose on national TV, you get blown up by the Nets, the Warriors, the Grizzlies, like basically almost back to back, and then they blew that Celtics game late. Vibes were brutal. Got all these guys injured. You get Caruso back. You beat the Cavs. The Cavs have been really good this season. Another surprise team. So it's like, all right, got Caruso back. I know Lonzo's out. Zach is out, but Zach will be back possibly tomorrow against the Thunder. Hopefully he has Javonte Green as well. But you get Caruso back, and then you win that Cavs game. You go into the Bucks game, another national TV game. You hopefully at least be competitive, which they were at least. But then when he goes down with all the Grayson Allen nonsense, and obviously that was a dirty play, had to mute my share of crazy people on Twitter for trying to defend Grayson Allen. At some point, I was just like, I've had enough of this. And if you can't see why that was a dangerous, reckless play that deserves a suspension, I wasn't expecting a long suspension. They gave him 1 game. That was fine. Like they were never going to like suspend him for like as long as Caruso's out. But he needed to get something. He got something. It's fine. The Bucks put out a really weird defense of him today on Twitter. They're like, "Oh, we disagree with this suspension. We can't wait to get him back." I have no idea why. Like I feel like it's super rare for a team to do that, and like to say that and like not even be like, like it's unfortunate that like Alex Caruso like got hurt and he's out, but like we're really sorry that happened. But like this move wasn't malicious. We disagree with the suspension. At least if you're gonna do something like that, say something like that. Just a bizarre statement. But yeah, so now Caruso out 68 weeks, along with Lonzo also out 68 weeks. They're just like that just kills the energy. There's so important for the energy defensively. And obviously they help offensively as well, but we saw in this Magic game, which I wasn't even paying that close attention to. Like I was kind of checking in at times, but it was just like once I saw that they were getting smoked, and it was just like, this is brutal. Like the defense had slipped a lot when Caruso was out for that month, and Lonzo missed some time then too. And there's like no reason to think that it's going to get any better. Like them being good defensively relied so much on Caruso and Lonzo being just like huge disruptors at the point of attack defensively, forcing turnovers, going back the other way. Those 2 guys out for 6 to 8 weeks. Like I just don't even when they get Javonte back, and he's an energy guy, but like, and a guy like Derrick Jones Jr., if they make a trade, add somebody else, like even without that, like you're missing your two best perimeter defenders, like all NBA level defenders. And Vucevic, who like he was fine as a defensive dude, like with those two playing like in front of him. But if your point of attack defense is gonna suck, and then you also have teams exploiting Vooch because he's just not very mobile, like I just don't see how the Bulls are going to be able to defend anybody at a high level. Like they should still, once they get Zach back and some of these other guys back, hopefully there's no other injuries. We almost saw Vooch get hurt today.
Yeah.
Once they get Zach back, I mean they'll be able to outscore some teams in games. When you have Zach and DeMar and Vooch when he actually plays well, and Kobe's going through a little 3-point shooting slump, but they should be able to outscore teams, win some games. But it's just hard. Like they just have to basically stay afloat, I guess, as that's what they can hope for these next 6 to 8 weeks, and then be in a position where you can hopefully they come back and you can finish the season strong and hopefully avoid the play-in tournament. Because right now, I'm looking at the standings, they're like 2 games ahead of the 7th seed. The Hornets are the 7th seed right now. They're getting blown up by the Hawks at least, so that'll drop them back a game. But like they're only 3 games ahead of the 7th seed right now, which is in the play-in tournament. It's like a week or two ago, this team is 27-11, way ahead. Like we're dreaming, possibly winning the 1 seed. Now they have to just hope that they can avoid the play-in tournament with these guys out, and it's just a huge bummer. Super unlucky with injuries, and like it just kind of is what it is. Like it stinks. It has killed just the entire vibe, because the vibes were so good, and I really did believe in this team as a possible contender. And maybe there won't be. Maybe these guys do come back in whatever mid-March or so. We're January 23rd right now. Maybe they come back in mid-March. Hopefully they stay relatively healthy, and maybe they can make a run still. Like totally healthy, I think this team could match up with almost basically anybody in the East. They're not going to be favored against the Nets or the Bucks or maybe even like the Heat. The Sixers are tough too with Embiid. But like I think they would at least have a chance. And I will still say that, like as down bad as they are right now, like I still think full strength that they can match up with any of these teams. But getting to that point is just going to be so much more difficult with Lonzo and Caruso out. They're just going to have to do their best to stay afloat and try to stay in the top 6 and see where the chips fall from there.
So who do we really need to see step up? I mean, I know you mentioned, Kobe White has had an off couple games. I think he was like 0 for 10 from 3.
Yeah. 0 for 9. I think it was 0 for 9 against the Bucks. 1 for 7 today. He did score a little better overall. I think he had like 22 points tonight. So he at least did some good stuff inside the arc. But obviously you need his 3-point shooting to be to be at his most effectiveness, especially when games when Zach are out. I mean, Kobe hits a few threes against the Bucks. The Bulls win that game. They shot, I think, like 6 of 30 something from 3. Like you get a normal Kobe shooting game, you win. Like Ayo had a quiet game today, and against both Kobe and Ayo kind of after all the hype they were getting, and they'd been playing really well. Both guys kind of take a step back, and like with Ayo, you kind of understand it. He's a rookie. Like as fun as he's been, as surprising as he's been, he's going to go through his ups and downs. The last couple games have been weird just because he had been playing so good in these last 2. Just he seemed a bit more gun shy. The Bucks game especially, it seemed like he was passing up open shots. Just kind of weird, but whatever. Again, he's a rookie, 2nd-round rookie. It's going to happen. Kobe, like I said, hopefully he doesn't go on like a prolonged 3-point shooting stretch because he had been so hot this month. And then obviously, the big one is Vucevic. Tonight's game, as bad as it gets this season, 4 of 19 from the field, 5 turnovers, fouled out, badly outplayed by Wendell Carter Jr., by Mo Wagner, which is especially tough because, you traded Wendell for Vooch and then the 2nd-round picks. Franz Wagner was one of those picks, and then his brother Mo, who was like slightly was on the Bulls for like 1 second, reportedly. He was part of that 3-team trade that brought with the other trade that happened with the Bulls that with like Daniel Tice, Javante, Troy Brown Jr., all that. That Mo Wagner was initially reported was like coming to the Bulls, but then it got expanded to a 3-team trade. So Vooch is just especially rough against his former team to have probably his worst game of the season. He's had a few real bad duds, like that Grizzlies game on MLK Day was embarrassing. He had Stan Van Gundy calling him out. But tonight, 4 of 19. What do you even say to that? Like he's really struggled from 3 much of the season. He struggled to shot much of the season. And 4 of 19 for a guy, it's almost unfathomable how much he struggled to shooting. I don't know if he's only 31. Like, you didn't think he'd fall off a cliff. I don't think this is a matter of like him like not getting the opportunities. Like we've seen situations like the Kevin Love thing where he goes putting up huge numbers on the Timberwolves as like the number one guy, goes to the Cavs, and kind of struggles a bit as the third guy, but like a hugely different role for Kevin Love there. I mean, Vooch is still getting tons of great looks from three. He's getting tons of looks just around the basket that he's just bricking, just missing badly from close, from far. And just like, and tonight, just the brutal culmination of it all. And just like, he can't put together any consistency. Like, he played really well against the Cavs. He had a clutch three from the corner. He had a really nice game. And then against the Bucks, he was like kind of whatever. And now tonight he was awful. I mentioned that Grizzlies game Monday, he was awful. So just like, he'll be awful. And then he'll be like, okay. And then awful. And then like one nice game, just no consistency from him all season. Like, he just can't put together 2 or 3 or longer stretches of games. And it's just, you're getting to a point, like, I've tried to be patient with him. Like, he does some things still really nice with his passing. I mean, I think he's battling out there defensively. He's a good rebounder, but like, you just get to a point, especially when Zach is out. I mean, when Zach is out, you need Vooch to be that Orlando Magic Vooch who was averaging like 25 and 12.
Yeah.
And he is putting up 4 of 19 games. Like, what the heck, man? So you're just getting to a point where you're just losing faith in him. You worry that if they do get in the playoffs, he's going to cost you a couple games with these type of dud performances. I'm in a group chat with a bunch of other Bulls like bloggers, and we're talking like, are they going to trade him? Like, I'm done with him. I don't think they're going to trade him this season. I think I don't know what you're going to get. Like, I know he's been bad, but I don't know what you're getting back that would really move the needle. I think at this point, you just have to pray that when Zach does come back down the road, when those other guys come back and Vooch is more of your third or fourth guy, that he can just be that connector, that good passer in the middle. He could hopefully not shoot as poorly. And then you just hope that he's okay and he doesn't cost you, because he just hasn't been good enough all season. And it's just really, and a game like today is just painful to watch him.
Yeah, it was bad. And the MLK day was terrible. I was watching that at work on the computer and I turned it off because it was just like, there's no point of watching it. It was kind of like tonight. I was in and out, watching on my phone. You talked about trades. It's a nice segue. There's a guy that's been rumored to be on the market, and Jeremy Grant by a lot of teams. I think the Bulls have been mentioned as somebody that may be a target or landing spot. Do you think we see the Bulls make some type of move down the stretch, especially if we see these guys, sidelined for potentially 8 weeks and not back till March, or is there any smoke or where there's fire there?
Right. The fact that it was before a few weeks ago when they were top of the East, looking great. I mean, I was gung-ho on, I'm fine with trading Patrick Williams for like an all-in type move here. If you think that a guy like Jeremy Grant, who I think would fit in nicely as your starting power forward, go for it. Why not? But now, like, with these guys out, and if the Bulls are stumbling into the trade deadline, like, it's just hard to say that you can trade Patrick Williams for that when you're just in such a rough spot. The calculus totally changes with these injuries and with the team performing so poorly right now. I mean, maybe if they do, if it's like Zach comes back here, some other guys come back and they start winning again, maybe you do still take that chance. But if they're stumbling still going in the trade deadline, I would be really surprised if they made that move. I know Jeremy Grant does have a year left after this one on his contract, so it would still be like a move for next season. But I feel like they probably like Patrick Williams too much to like make that kind of move if they're like really struggling and they've got these guys out, and you're basically praying that everyone's healthy when playoffs come around, which could happen. And maybe we go down the line and everyone is healthy and you're like, oh man, I really wish they had Jeremy Grant on this team right now. Like if you're playing like the Nets or the Bucks in a playoff series, but like if they are it's the debate that you have with yourself. And like I said before, I was much more gung-ho on going all in, but with the team where it's at right now, it's much harder to say that I would definitely do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you took the words right out of my mouth with the Bucks and the Nets, because it just feels like they have a guy. They don't really have a guy that can keep up with your Kevin Durant's or your Giannis's, which again there aren't very many in the league that really can hang with them, especially in a playoff series. But at least somebody to slow them down, or you trust defensively. And I mean, if Caruso's healthy, do you throw him out there? Like, does Lonzo guard them at all?
Right.
With Vooch struggling, we don't really have any depth at the bigs anyways. With, Tony Bradley isn't that great. Troy Brown Jr. has been all right. I mean, don't get me started on Alize Johnson. And, and it sucks because you don't want to be negative, because we've watched like so much bad Bulls basketball the past few seasons, and you were right. The vibes were high. This was like a breath of fresh air. And now it just kind of feels like it's all just slipping through the cracks, slipping right through our fingers.
Yeah, they were one of the most fun teams in the league. I mean, their offense is still ranked really high. Like they have one of the better offensive teams in the league. But when they had Lonzo and Caruso, and then when they were really balling, like they were also like a top 10, almost borderline top 5 defensive team. And there were some other factors going into that with other teams missing guys and all that. But still, like even if they weren't that good defensively, like they were at their best, they can be an elite team that can force turnovers, shut teams down when they're bringing it. Now that again, as I was saying earlier, they just really can't rely on like forcing those turnovers now and making having that kind of disruption on defense. And they're just going to have to outscore teams. So yeah, it's just gonna be tough. And the vibes, especially when you're getting roasted defensively, it definitely just brings the general vibes down. Just you start hanging your head, body language not great. And they're gonna have to bring it. Obviously, I mean, once Zach comes back, I mean, you still have Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Vooch, Kobe. I mean, you still have a talented team here. Like these guys need to bring it, even if they're not as good defensively. You still got to bring it. Like I said, I think they're still going to be able to. Hopefully, they'll still win some games and hopefully stay afloat here, as long as there's no other like devastating injuries. It's just, it's hard to see them going, I guess, on another big run. I mean, their upcoming schedule. Theoretically, I mean, tonight was supposed to be a game you get back on track against the Magic. You get blown out. They play the Thunder tomorrow. Like, it's another road game. I mean, if you play like you did tonight, you're going to lose to them too. And then the Raptors have been okay. You have them at home on Wednesday. Like, I mean, that's a game you should win theoretically. But again, I mean, if you watch a game like you lose by 20, the Magic, you think this team can lose to anybody now. So it's like they just need to play with. They need more effort here defensively. They need Zach back to help take pressure off DeMar. I mean, heroic performance by DeMar tonight, 41 points, basically the only one who showed up for the most part. So they need to get some of these guys back to stay afloat, and as they wait for the other two guys who are out for a long time.
Absolutely, man. Well, you talked about DeMar DeRozan, and he's playing at just another level this year and doing things that we haven't seen a Chicago Bull do in quite a while, it feels like. And he's really gonna, like, if we thought he was an MVP candidate before, he's gonna have to do that 2 times over, it feels like, for the rest of the season. So there was all that talk, right, when we signed him, like, oh, this contract's terrible, this isn't gonna work out. And it kind of feels pretty good as a Bulls fan to like, hey, maybe we got one of these signings right for once.
Yeah, I mean, DeMar has been awesome. He was struggling a little bit earlier this month, but I mean, these last few games, he's really picked things up again. He was just going through a bit of a rut, which, I mean, again, he's carried such a big load throughout the season so far. He was always going to go into a little slump. I mean, he's 32. He wasn't going to be shooting, like averaging 28 points on like 52% shooting all season. But I mean, these last couple games, he's picked it up again, getting into the 30s, getting into the 40s. He's been everything we really could have asked for. And more for this team. He's going to start in the All-Star game. I know people have been complaining that he's getting voted in as a guard when he doesn't really play guard, but whatever. He deserves to be a starter in the All-Star game. Positions be damned. He's worked out, like, shut up all the haters. He was good in San Antonio. He just was kind of lost there. And I will admit, I had certainly had my skepticism about the deal when it happened. Seemed like a lot of money, but he's been awesome. He seems like he's been a great teammate. He's been great on the court, huge shots. He's been great. He's going to have to be great. Him and Zach are going to have to be big time, especially if Vooch keeps struggling.
Absolutely. Do you think this, kind of sour, I mean, they've lost 6 of their last 7 games. Do you think like this, stumble into the finish really takes away from a potential Coach of the Year campaign from Billy Donovan? Because I think he's been great this year.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly won't help. Like you look at other candidates, JB Bickerstaff, I think he'd probably be the front runner. I mean, looking at other teams here, it's certainly like in the East. I mean, Spoelstra is always a good candidate. The fact that the Heat are 30-17, despite Jimmy and Bam missing so much time, is really impressive. Bickerstaff, with having this young Cavs team where they are and going kind of unique with their 3 big lineup, I think he's probably maybe the front runner. I mean, Monty Williams with the Suns, they're 36-9. I didn't even realize they're 36-9. They have a 3.5 game lead. The Grizzlies coach was Taylor Jenkins. The fact that I think that's the Grizzlies coach, 32-16. Like it's probably going to be. If I had to pick top 3 right now, it's probably Monty. I feel like the best team, and especially if they're by far the best team, like it's always that coach is going to be there. probably Monty, Taylor Jenkins of the Grizzlies, since they're 32-6 right now, if they keep it up, and then probably JB Bickerstaff of the Cavs. Billy probably you could argue for like the top 5. Like I said, I think Spoelstra's right there. Billy right in there, right around there in that top 5. I mean, if the Bulls would have kept going and won the East, I think Billy definitely would have been maybe in the top 3 there. But this slump, and you can't blame him for the injuries, obviously, and like so it's not like he's doing, I don't think, a worse coaching job or anything. It's just the unfortunate nature of the situation with these injuries and the team just racking up losses now.
Yeah, and how much stock do you put into they're not, I mean, besides, they only lose to the Bucks by 4, which was pretty promising with, considering who the Bulls had on the floor. But other than that, there's been a lot of blowouts. How much stock do you put into that? Because it's yeah, it sucks to lose, but when you're losing by 30, 40 points on national television, that makes it feel a lot worse.
Right. Yeah. I definitely think there is something to be concerned about there. Again, injuries are obviously brutal. A lot of teams have been dealing with these health problems with COVID and injuries as well. The most you need, you ask for competitiveness, and the back-to-back, whatever, basically just complete embarrassments on national TV, were really rough. Then you blow that game. The Celtics' effort was great, but then you blow it late. So you can't. That's like a game where you can't be too mad. But when you have that game in hand, and then you go out and get blown out by a good Grizzlies team, obviously, you're getting blown out by good teams, but still, when you're just not competitive, and then tonight was not a good team. Obviously, you just got blown out by the worst team in the league. That's probably, honestly, tonight maybe even more troubling than the Nets or Warriors game. I was at the Warriors game, was the first Bulls game I'd gone to this season as a fan. Spent a good amount of money on that ticket, and to just be not competitive. That was really rough, but it is the Warriors. I know the Warriors have been struggling lately, but when they get it going, they're obviously one of the best teams in the league. Losing by 19 to the Magic and just not being competitive most of that game is probably rock bottom. You hope that it doesn't get any worse in Oklahoma City tomorrow, but when you're getting smoked by the Magic and your team that has had 8 wins coming in or whatever they had, that's just not acceptable. When you have, I know they're short guys, but you still have DeMar, you still have Vuce. If Vuce has a normal game, you're at least competitive. Even if you lose, chalk it up to the Magic having a really good night, fine. Getting blown out, and again, Vuce being 4 of 19, that's not acceptable. It is so the blowouts are concerning for sure. Again, it is just hard to judge considering who they are missing and just how important those guys are. But still, it's rough to see blowouts, and it is easy to overreact. And I was getting a little emotional, especially at that Warriors game. Had a few drinks in me, and just seeing them get absolutely punked. It's just man, these guys stink. They're huge frauds. Kind of talked myself off the ledge after that game, but now with Lonzo out 6 to 8 weeks, and now Caruso out 6 weeks, and then you lose by 20 to the Magic, I'm right back on that ledge. Man, I don't know. Again, the vibes are just so bad right now. Thank the Lord, Zach did not suffer a serious injury. Imagine if Zach's injury was actually bad.
Yeah,
and they were out, all 3 of those guys. I would totally mail in this season if that was the case. So hopefully Zach comes back and is okay, and they can start winning a few games here and there again. I can stay afloat, as I've been saying, but it can definitely be tough to watch, and you really get down when they're getting smoked like this.
If you want to see Jason's roller coaster of emotions, follow him on Twitter at Bulls_J. You're usually, it feels like every time I pull up Twitter, whether I'm watching the Bulls or an Illini game, it's you're the first person, every time. And it's yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. So just know you're not alone in most of those, man. But so when these guys do come back, we're hoping we get them back. I don't know, can you expect them to be back full 100%, especially, missing 6 to 8 weeks of the highest level of basketball could be tough. It's I don't know. I guess, what's your expectation? So let's say we do get everybody back. Do you think are they immediately back to, maybe one of the best teams in the East? What's the barometer for a successful season here, I guess?
Right. So, as I said earlier, when they do have everybody healthy, I think they can compete with anybody. Would I pick them to beat the Bucks or the Nets? No. Would I pick them to beat the Heat? I would probably lean no on that one as well. Heat and Sixers, probably more toss-ups. I've always said the Sixers, I feel, who knows what they'll do with Ben Simmons. We'll see about that. With the Sixers, the Bulls have never beaten Joel Embiid in his career, which is still kind of crazy. And that's obviously a brutal matchup at how good Embiid is just playing so well. And it'd just be really tough to stop him. So But still, I think firmly they'd at least be on that tier with like those teams, and we'll see what happens with the Cavs if they can keep this up too. At least on the tier with those teams, probably a little below the Nets. We'll see. Hopefully, KD comes back for his sake. Don't want to see guys injured, obviously. And then again, the Bucks, defending champs. The Bucks are with Giannis. They're a big team. We saw the Bulls compete with them the other night, even missing guys. But the Bucks are like I think 18 or 19-3 with their main three guys healthy. Mm-hmm. And then the Bucks were terrible against the Bulls the other night. The Bulls played hard. The reason the Bulls were in that game is just the Bucks were terrible too. Like Giannis had 30 and 12, and it felt like he kind of stunk. The Bucks also shot like barely better than the Bulls from three. They were like 19-20%. So like Bulls played hard, but the Bucks kind of let them stay in that game.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, when they are healthy, the Bulls can be awesome on both ends. They can compete if you get a few things that break right, maybe a little injury here. Again, not rooting for injuries, but if someone gets hurt, I mean, you never know what can happen. We saw last year the Bucks and Suns both did take advantage of some big injuries to make it to the finals. That could I think that's a situation where if that did happen, like the Bulls could maybe make it to the finals, or maybe if with some luck make it to the championship. But that is banking on them being healthy. Mm-hmm. And right now they're just like so far from that. It's just like hard to say. But and we've seen how good they can be on both ends when they have all their guys. They're really fun. They force turnovers. They're one of the best, an elite offensive team. They can be really good defensively. It's just a matter of having it happen. And right now it's just not, and they're far away from that. And we're far away from them being healthy because these guys are out up to 2 months. So it's got to cross our fingers that come late March, mid-late March, these guys are back. There's no other further big injuries, and that they can hopefully get some rhythm going into the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you knew I wasn't going to let you get out of here without talking about the two Illini on the Bulls, because when Malcolm Hill got signed to that 2-way contract, so excited. He, I got to meet him a couple times with Finky bringing him around. And he was always such a nice dude. And then what he meant to the Illinois program, and third leading scorer in program history. And for him to finally get a shot, especially with the Bulls, is so awesome. And for the same year, for it to be the same year that Ayo is doing the things that he's doing, have been incredible. So I know the last time you were on the show, we were kind of discussing what we thought, Ayo's role would be. And I don't know if either of us could have predicted that he'd be contributing as much as he has this season. Can you just talk a little bit about what he's meant to the Bulls and what he's kind of brought to the team so far this year?
Yeah, definitely shocked at the role Ayo has played, how good he's been. Again, in the last couple games, he's kind of taken a step back after he had a really nice stretch there in the starting lineup. Again, peaks and valleys of a rookie, second round. The fact that he is starting games and been competitive and has had some really huge games and played a key role in huge wins. He was awesome against the Cavs, just an awesome fourth quarter closing that game on both ends. The fact that he has been doing that, obviously fans love him. The Chicago kid, went to Illinois, fan favorite. He always just gets the crowd really fired up. It's been awesome to see him do that. I did not expect him to make this kind of impact. He's really proving with his energy, with his defense, that he can be around. His shooting has been better than expected. I think he's shooting over 40% from three, even after this little slump here these last couple games. I would like to see him be a bit less hesitant to shoot. Again, I mentioned, I feel like he's gotten a little gun shy. These record scratches where he catches the ball like open and he like hesitates, and then that kind of just screws up your whole possession. Less of that. Be confident, because he's been making these shots. He's shooting a good percentage. Get up more shots when you have those looks. Be a bit more aggressive, looking for his own offense. But in general, it has been great to see him make such an impact on this team when I didn't expect it. And after watching him be awesome at Illinois, it's been awesome to watch him be awesome with the Bulls. So it's been really cool.
Yeah, I saw you tweet the other night about how you kind of wanted him to maybe get some opportunities in the fourth quarter to close it out, just as we saw how good he was, down the stretch and being Illinois' closer during his career. Do you think we see any of that down the stretch of the season, especially with how depleted everybody has been?
Right. I mean, I would love to. I don't know if they'll consistently be going to play games. I think I tweeted that after the Celtics game when they kind of folded in those last couple minutes. Because I know like Malcolm took a shot. I think Malcolm actually got fouled and they didn't call it, so he got kind of screwed. But yeah, a situation like that, especially when Zach's not there, and if Vooch is not playing well, Why not give Ayo a shot down the stretch? He was so clutch at Illinois, one of the most clutch players in college basketball. Sorry, football on the mind. This football game going on right now is absolutely insane. All these games back and forth. So I just had football on the mind there. Yeah, one of the most clutch players in college basketball. I'd love to see him get a chance sometime. And he's hit some big 3-point. I mean, against the Cavs the other night. I know it wasn't like crunch time, like last minute stuff, but he had some huge threes in the fourth quarter. He's usually pretty fearless, which is why it's been kind of weird to see him be so hesitant these last couple of days. That it just kind of has taken me by surprise these last couple of games where he's looked a bit more gun shy after he had like 3 or 4 just really good games in a row where he had like double doubles. His efficiency was crazy. The shooting, obviously a bit of an outlier when he's making like 70% of his shots, but like
right.
I would like to see him because he's usually fearless, willing to go up against anybody. Love to see him just be a bit, just kind of let it loose sometimes. I know when Zach comes back, his minutes will probably go down a little bit because he's been playing a ton. I would love to see him just like grab those moments, get some opportunities there. And like I said, he has gotten some. When DeMar and Zach are out there, obviously, like those two are going to be taking the majority of the crunch time shots. Vuce occasionally as well. But if I was out on the court and he gets a look, let it fly, man. Please, like I'm good with it. Like he's been shooting pretty well all season, so I'd rather him be aggressive and miss good looks. Obviously, I don't want him to force it, but I'd rather him be aggressive and miss good shots like that than be record scratching and passing up and forcing up other guys to take tough shots.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think there's any chance we see him all rookie first team or second team?
I don't know about first, but I think is definitely a second team guy. I'd have to look at like this rookie class again, but I think I remember seeing some like whoever does like rookie ladders, like I think had him in the top 10. I don't know if that was ESPN recently, but I think he's at least definitely making a case for all rookie second team right now. And maybe if he keeps playing better and with all these, even with Zach coming back, he still will get a ton of opportunity with Lonzo and Caruso out. Maybe he can get into that first all rookie team conversation.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely, man. Well, that's really all I got for you. We've been seeing red, hoping for better days. Hopefully the vibes are back higher. Another crazy play in this football game. It's like so hard not to like freak out right now. I have a responsibly large wager on the Bills. But Jason, before I let you go, let everybody know where they can find all of your awesome work, the podcast, the writing, Twitter, all that good stuff.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Bulls_J, podcast, Cash Considerations, Chicago Bulls podcast, me and Ricky O'Donnell. That's part of the Blue Wire Network. Bulls stuff at SBNation's Bloggable, Forbes, and then also do work for Clutch Points as well. So I think that's basically it. And in addition to the Bulls, I would like to see the Illini finally get healthy too. Both my basketball teams can't get healthy. Curbelo comes back, and then Kofi gets a concussion too, and he comes out like it just cursed with injuries. Both my basketball teams this season, super annoying. So need these guys to get healthy, and the Illini could be so good, probably a top 10 talented team when they have all their guys, and they just haven't had their guys this season, and that's the same with the Bulls right now. So praying, fingers crossed, that these teams can get healthy, and then they can make good runs in the postseason.
Like all of their losses have been when they aren't at full strength. And so it's just, you want to see them fucking have their full team on the floor, everybody going. And of course, Curbelo, like after the game the other night, like, oh yeah, he had fever of 100. It's like, okay, why is he playing then? Like, I don't know. It's just, I hope Kofi gets over this concussion, and Tuesday, big game against Michigan State. So we will see how that goes. But definitely, right. I'm right there with you, praying that my teams can get healthy because I've seen how good they can be when, at full go. But Jason, thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for coming back on the show. This is the Brew Party Podcast, episode number 98. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts, or just go to www.thebrewparty.com. It's got links to all of our episodes, ways to listen, social media. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Brew Party, and you can follow us on Facebook at The Brew Party Podcast. Like this video and subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/The Brew Party. Thanks again to Jason Patt. I'm Andy Hopper. We are out of here.